So for this week's video, I'm just going to continue looking at my collection. I'll start off with some of the more unusual stuff and then work into the more normal stuff. First of all, I have my Virtual Boy, a system which I believe gets a lot more criticism than it deserves. I mean, sure, it was all red, but it was the first real 3D experience that we had, and it's kind of unique and unlike anything else out there. I mean, it's basically the original Game Boy, but red and in 3D, which is cool. Next I have my Vectrex. No, that is not the original control overlay, but it did have some issues when I bought it, and the only way that you can fix the controller, to get inside of it rather, is to remove the overlay because the screws underneath. Here's some footage I took of the Vectrex, off-screen graphics. It's really hard to capture the Vectrex because you know, the lines are so fine and everything is so contrasty that the camera has a really hard time focusing. So you can see the lines on the edge are fairly sharp, but the ship is fuzzy, and that's just the way it is. I mean, I can't get everything. I've tried 3 different cameras and I can't get it to focus properly. But anyways, you kind of get the point. That's, you know, how the Vectrex looks. It's a unique vector graphics machine, you know, similar to a lot of the early arcade machines, like Asteroids and things like that. But it was for the home specifically, and it came out in the early 80s, so it was very revolutionary at the time. Next, I have my Turbo Duo. This is actually the Japanese version, which is basically almost identical to the US version, except for the colors, I think, are a little bit different. The colors on the controller and the power button and stuff like that. It does only play Japanese HuCard games unmodified, but this one does have a switch on the back that allows me to play both US and Japanese HuCards. Next, I have one of my retro console shelves, I guess. You can see I have a Japanese Super Famicom with the Super EverDrive in it, and then my Saturn, nothing unusual. That's a Generation 2 US Saturn. Then my Dreamcast, again, just typical Dreamcast, and my OG Xbox. And then below that is my Commodore 64 with a fairly unique keyboard cover. The mess of wires behind the Commodore 64 is actually a SD card reader, so you can actually play games off the SD card and it thinks that it's a disk drive. Next I have my Panasonic 3DO, the FZ1. This one works great, except for there's actually an issue with the power button. Basically it's on all the time, so I may fix that in a future video at some point. And for playing retro games, I actually have a Sony PVM. I'm not sure offhand what the exact model number is, but this is a fairly late model PVM. It actually will do 640 by 480, so that actually works pretty good for like PS2 and stuff like that. What makes PVMs great, you can see, is all the adjustments for basically everything, vertical hold, all that kind of stuff. And this will actually run both US and or NTSC rather, and PAL content, so that makes it kind of cool, in addition to just the standard PVM stuff. And just quickly, for those wondering, yes, I do have a PS5 and a Xbox Series X. And in keeping with newer stuff, here is some of my mini systems, including the Genesis Mini, the Super Nintendo Mini, which is actually the European one, so it looks like my Super Famicom. I have the Neo Geo stick, the C64 Mini, one of the collectible Neo Geo Minis, the Core Graphics, again this is the European version, and the Game Gear Micros. Here I have my PS1. This is actually one of the ones that has the flip-up LCD screen. And then I have my Astro City Mini, some of my Wonder Swan stuff. And here I have a strange looking Laserdisc that I have framed on the wall. It is actually blank on one side because this is actually the Space Ace Laserdisc. It's from the arcade machine, and the arcade machines cannot flip over the disc, so it is only printed on one side. Next I have some more of my Fallout collectibles. First you can see the die-cast Flea. I actually have two different designs on this one, and the Picker Up, and my Nuka-Cola Quantum, and some of the various blind box figures, and my pop figures, which are pretty much all video games. You can see there's a lot of Fallout stuff. So pretty short video this week. Next week's video will probably be longer. I have some big plans on what I'm going to do. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you for watching.